It was indulgent. I would get mayonnaise on them usually. Okay. Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Nikki, and today's video, I have a quick talking video. So today I'm gonna be talking about fast food and restaurants during a weight loss journey and a maintenance journey, and just what I have done personally on my weight loss journey. So if you enjoyed this video or find it helpful, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. And let's just get started. So I'm talking about a few different things today regarding fast food and weight loss and restaurants, but I thought it would just be helpful because that is a question I get asked a lot, is if I do still eat fast food or how I handle going to restaurants or events with family and friends and stuff like that. And I still do go to restaurants. I still do eat fast food, but I'm gonna give you guys kind of the details of how I do that. So before I started my weight loss journey in 2020 and the couple years before that, when we had moved into our own house and started living on our own, I was working a lot. I was working more than full-time. I was working 50 hours at a bakery job, and then I was also running my business full-time at home. And it just became so much that we were getting fast food every day, and sometimes I was getting it 2 times a day. So there really wasn't a day that went by that we didn't get fast food, whether that be like Taco Bell, McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Jersey Mike's, Panda Express, Noodles and Company, different places like that. We were getting every single day. So side note with that too, because I always get asked about like a budget with groceries and stuff. We were spending so much money on takeout food that now I'm a little bit more willing to spend a little bit of money on the groceries that we get and the healthier foods we eat, because I do look at them as fuel and something that is just like to nourish my body. And I don't know, to me, it's worth it to even spend more money, even though at the same time, I don't even think I spend as much as what we did when we were getting takeout every day. But that's not what this video is about. I just did want to mention that. But I went from eating fast food 1 to 2 times a day to now I would say I eat it 1 to 2 times a week. And when I say fast food, I mean fast food or restaurants when I'm talking about that. So that could include going out to sushi or going to get pizza or something like that. It's just any type of takeout food. At this point now, I get it around 1 to 2 times a week. So when I first started in April 2020, I decided that the first month I was just gonna try to cut fast food out, mostly because I wanted to try to get used to cooking at home and having food and meals at home and focus on grocery shopping. We actually did do the first month without eating out at all, but then we did start to incorporate fast food right away after that. We did start to find lower point options at different restaurants and different places. And I think we were very, very careful in the beginning, especially on WW, because we were trying to be so accurate with our Weight Watchers points and stuff like that, that we did try to find lower point options at restaurants and fast food places. Now I would say that I'm a little bit more lenient when it comes to going out, because it is something that I'm not doing like super frequently. Like I said, maybe 1 time a week or 2 times a week. But I'm not as crazy about trying to stay super low point like I was when I first started, which is totally fine. And I still have a lot of the same low point options that I had when I first started, but I feel like I've just gotten a little bit more comfortable incorporating anything that I enjoy from restaurants and places like that. So I just want to talk about some things that have kind of changed since then. One thing that I really like to do that has been really helpful on my weight loss journey has been making copycat fast food meals at home. So I know that's not going out and getting fast food, but honestly, there are multiple times a week where Adam and I are sitting there and we want to figure out dinner and I don't feel like cooking, and fast food and takeout is just the first option. We start thinking about things, and a lot of times we can actually talk ourselves out of it and say, we're craving pizza right now, but let's just make a pizza bake at home. Like, really, we have the stuff for it. We might as well. We're gonna feel better. It's gonna be more filling, and we have the stuff for it. So it's wasteful if we're not just using the food we have here. So in those situations, it's actually really helpful to, even if we're having a higher point meal at home, like a pizza bake or an Italian beef sandwich that I make at home, or barbecue mac and cheese. Even though those are higher point meals, they're still like half the points of the restaurant meal that we were originally thinking about getting, that 3 years ago we would have gotten without a question. And it would have made me feel bad for a couple days after, and just honestly not been worth it in every scenario. And of course there's some scenarios where I think fast food and takeout is fine, and I do incorporate it and stuff, but there are also times where it's just better to have the meals at home. And I've mentioned before, but I do have a cookbook, and in my cookbook I have a section with a good amount amount of copycat fast food recipes with like Chick-fil-A sandwiches, McGriddles, stuff like that. Those are a lot of the recipes that we make at home that feel indulgent. They honestly taste so similar to the meals at the restaurants, but usually they're half the points, they're more filling, and they're using fresh ingredients from home. We control what goes into them. Sometimes we can add more if we want, like more veggies and stuff. And so that's been one thing that's really, really helped on my journey, is taking fast food meals that I love and trying to recreate them at home. But like I said, we still like to go to restaurants a lot. We go to sushi once a month. No matter what, Adam and I go and have sushi once a month. Although I have to say we missed July, but it's because it's been so crazy. We were talking about maybe going twice in August, but we're definitely not gonna miss our August sushi date. It's just been crazy. And we've done some other food places as well. But anyway, every single month we go to sushi. We go sit down, all you can eat, and pretty much just track it and move on. So I've kind of calculated around what it is because we usually get the same thing. And I just track 40 points and move on, and that's just what works best for me. But I'm not afraid to have some balance, go to a restaurant and indulge in a meal that I really enjoy and I didn't want to cut out when I started my weight loss journey. And so our sushi dates actually really help me because it does feel like we're getting to go out every month. It's something that we love, we look forward to, and we can get right back on track, drinking water, getting some movement in, and making the next meal a good one. Another thing I wanted to mention about restaurants, and I don't know if everyone can relate to this, but this is something that I really struggled with at my heaviest, and honestly just always growing up. I was always so worried about the volume of what I was eating. I always wanted the biggest portion possible. So if it came down to like a food I really wanted or a portion that was bigger, I would always choose the bigger portion. And that's how it was at restaurants. So many times I would just look at the menu and think like, okay, which meal is gonna give me the most amount of food that I can eat? And that was like the only thing I thought about, especially in like groups of people, because I wanted to make sure I was able to get a lot. Even if I didn't clear my plate, I'd still have a good enough portion that I could eat a lot. I realized that there was no reason I was doing that. A lot of the time I would eat that much and then not feel good after. And then I would regret that I didn't get what I actually wanted to order. And when I think it through now, like it really doesn't make sense. And in the moment when I would do it, it didn't make sense, but it's just something that I've always done. And it's something I've always struggled with. And now that I've kind of healed my relationship with food, of course, I still struggle with it. I still am working on it every single day, even with like emotional eating, binge eating disorder, everything like that. I'm still dealing with those types of things, but now I've really worked on not focusing so much on that. I know that I'm gonna have food that I can go home to if I'm still hungry after my meal at the restaurant, and there's always options. And so I've really kind of worked through that in my head. And when I go to restaurants now, I actually order the meal that I wanna order, even if it's not the biggest portion, and usually it's what I'm actually craving. And I find that that way I'm actually so much more satisfied. Usually it's still enough food because restaurant portions are usually enough food anyway. But again, it was more of like a mental thing for me that I needed to get the biggest meal possible. So that's one thing that's really changed. And it's just, I feel like been healthier for me overall because I've really learned that on my journey, I can have balance and I can enjoy the meals and the foods that I love. I just need to do it in moderation. So now when I go to a restaurant, I make sure to just order what I want, no matter what the size is, because I know that I can always go have more at home, or I could order more, whatever I need to do, but it's not that same mentality that I used to have. Another thing that's changed about restaurants too, and fast food, is what I drink when I'm eating it. Because especially with fast food, you get a pop with meals, and we used to always get like meals with whatever we would order. So I would drink a pop every time. Usually I'd get Dr. Pepper or Mountain Dew. Then going to restaurants, we would also order pop or alcoholic beverages, which we still do from time to time, especially like when we're treating ourselves or something, we'll get like a fun alcoholic drink or something. But honestly, a lot of the times I just make sure to order water because it's not extra calories that I'm sneaking in. It also just helps me to feel better, to stay hydrated. And when I'm at a restaurant, I would down pops because I would just keep drinking them because you're just sitting there talking and just kind of enjoying yourselves. And I would just keep drinking the pop, even if I wasn't thirsty. And then it would just be so many added calories. It wouldn't make me feel good. So now at least if I get a water, I continue to drink the water. And if anything, it's not bad to be getting too much water, like getting a lot of water at dinner or whatever. So that's one thing that's really helped. And if I really want a pop or I really want that flavored drink or something, I will order it. But most of the times I find that I feel better if I just get water at restaurants or when we get fast food. And of course, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with getting pop or any types of drinks like that. I'm just saying what has worked for me, cutting out those extra calories and what makes me feel better. It's these small changes like this that have made it sustainable and that I can still get the meals and stuff that I want, and it just works best for me. Another thing I try to do when I go to restaurants especially is, like I said, I try to order the thing that I really know that I want, that I'm gonna enjoy. But there are also times where I try to balance out the meal, whereas in the past I might not have done that. I might have like overindulged. So for an example, we recently went to a barbecue place down when we were visiting my brother in St. Louis, which I'm so excited to share the video with you guys. I vlogged the entire day. We surprised him at his apartment that I haven't seen yet. We got to meet his new cat, and we went to a Cubs cards game. So I'm really excited to share that vlog with you guys. I'll have that up later. But anyway, we went to a barbecue restaurant, and at the restaurant, there were a bunch of different options for sides. And I decided I really wanted the mac and cheese. I knew it wasn't gonna make me feel the best, but it was like a buttery, it had like Ritz crackers on it. It was so good. And so I knew I wanted that as a side because you get two sides with it. And usually in the past, I would choose like French fries with it or something because again, I just wanted like the most food. Even though I don't like fries that much, I really would rather have something else. I would just get whatever I thought would be the biggest portion. But when we went the other day, I actually got this green bean salad, and it was just fresh green beans and tomatoes and like a light balsamic dressing. And it was so good. And it actually felt really good to eat. It felt refreshing, mixed with the mac and cheese and the chicken I got with all the barbecue sauce and the bread that we got and everything. It was still a super filling meal. It was indulgent and it was really good, but it also really helped to have some balance and have those vegetables in there that in the past I probably wouldn't have ordered. But I noticed that they made me feel more full. They made me just feel like I was eating more real food, if that makes sense, which of course you're eating real food, but sometimes just throwing those extra veggies and stuff in there really does help. So that's something that I also do, is just to make small changes like that, still get the one thing that I really want, but then maybe throw in a veggie with it. Or when we have fast food and we bring it home, I still have my Honeycrisp apple right after. And I always feel like that just helps a little bit to kind of help with my digestion and just feeling better, getting some real food or fruit in me or whatever. Okay, then I was just gonna kind of go through a few different restaurants and talk about different things that I've changed. So for example, we used to always get Jersey Mike's, and I would always get the Philly cheesesteak, but like the big kahuna. So it had like double white American cheese, meat and peppers, which they do have a chicken version of that I've gotten sometimes, but I just found overall that cheese doesn't make me feel good. So now we still get Jersey Mike's all the time, but instead I get a turkey sandwich with a bunch of veggies. I do like the pickles, banana peppers, lettuce, tomatoes, I think cucumbers, whatever I can get for veggies, and really load it up to make it filling. And it still feels like a really good meal. It's still like a nice sandwich, but it doesn't like weigh me down like it used to. And that feeling of like all that cheese, it just never felt good after I would eat it. I would always have a stomach ache after I ate that sandwich, but it was still like one of my favorites. So now I still feel the same. I have a really good sandwich. I enjoy eating it, but I don't feel the way I did after I eat it. When it comes to Jimmy John's, I haven't really changed my order for that. And then we have a local Bub's Subs is what it's called. And we go there all the time. And I pretty much get the same thing there as well that I used to always order. Those are a little easier because really it's just bread with some lunch meat and then veggies. It's pretty much the same as what I used to get. Taco Bell, I definitely order differently now. I used to get, first of all, way too many items. I would just always overdo it. So I would have like 5 items and I'd be like, you know what, I'm just gonna add one more item. And it was always to the point where I was like sick to my stomach after, because I just pushed it one thing too far. So now I usually do 3 to 4 items. I really like to just get the soft tacos, but I like to switch in the grilled chicken instead. So sometimes I'll get soft or crunchy tacos with the grilled chicken. I also like to do the beef sometimes too. They're like 4 or 5 points for the taco. I like to get the Chipotle chicken melt. So that's one thing that I've actually always gotten. But now I add a little bit of rice to it. So you can add rice as a side on it. And then I just track it as 1 more point. So it's 7 points. But I find that it's more filling and it's still like an indulgent thing that I look forward to. That's like the one thing that if I'm going to Taco Bell, I need to have at least one of those and then I feel satisfied. So adding the rice to that helps bulk it up a little. Sometimes I also add onion and tomato. So just kind of customizing different things that I used to get. I also used to get like the Crunchwrap Supreme, a beefy 5-layer burrito. I don't really do those anymore just because, again, they don't make me feel the best with all the cheese that's in them and the meat. But I do love the Power Bowl. So We haven't gotten it actually in a while, but we got it so much throughout our weight loss journey, and I've gotten it so much throughout maintenance. It's just such a quick and easy meal from Taco Bell that actually feels like filling, and it feels like it's just like more satisfying than I guess like the Crunchwrap Supreme or something like that, at least to me. But it's pretty much like Chipotle. So it's got a base of rice, it's got some beans, some meat, some veggies on it, and then it's just like a power bowl. And we really like that one. I think it's 8 or 9 points on WW. So it's filling and it's got some veggies, and it's just a good option that we like to have now. And that was something we didn't even know about before because we didn't even really look at the bowls and stuff. We were looking at all like the wraps and quesadillas and stuff like that. Sushi hasn't really changed. I think we probably used to go more, but we've always done all you can eat. We still do all you can eat. We just have our specific rolls that we like to get every time, and it just works for us. We don't overdo it. And yeah, that's just pretty much the same as what it used to be before we started our weight loss journey. We do like to go to burger places, and I feel like that hasn't really changed. Usually I just get like a plain burger with some cheese, and then I always like to do like grilled mushrooms or onions, lettuce, tomato, and then that's pretty much it, and pickles usually. But before I would also get like mayonnaise and different sauces, and now what I do if we're gonna be coming home and eating them is I just don't order any sandwiches or burgers or anything like that with sauce. And then when I bring it home, I just add my light mayonnaise or my ketchup or whatever I have here, the sauces that I like that I know are a little bit lower point that again make me feel better. And then it just makes the meal just that much better for me. And it's these small changes like this that have just really made a difference that make it more sustainable. And overall, the reason that I do these things is just to feel better. So I'm fine with eating mayonnaise. Yes, I can order the burger with the mayonnaise, but I know if I just take it off, I can easily add the light mayo at home, and that small change will make me feel so much better that it's worth it to just do. So those are just some of the places that we get now. We also still get pizza sometimes, and usually when we do that, again, it's kind of just a guesstimate of how much we've eaten with tracking points and stuff like that. I'm really not too crazy about being exact with it because I know that it's higher points. I know that I can guesstimate high, but I still am trying to do everything else right throughout the week. I'm still keeping within my points, but I'm using my weeklies. I have my activity points, drinking my water, getting sleep, making everything else a priority, and then it kind of helps to balance out the more indulgent fast food or restaurant meals. Also, one of my favorite things is Auntie Anne's, and that is something I will never cut out. It's only 13 points though for the nuggets, so really it's not that bad. It's something easy to incorporate, but it's not something that I would ever cut out, and I haven't cut it out. So that's just another like fast food thing. But we still do go get fast food, and those are just some of the ways that we do it. I've made some changes and some things I've kept the same, but overall, my main thing is just thinking about how it's gonna make me feel in the end. So if it's something small enough that won't affect me, I'll still do it. But if it's something that I can change easily, I'll also do that just to feel better. So those are just some of the things that have changed and some of my tips when it comes to fast food and restaurants on a weight loss and maintenance journey. This is all just the stuff that's worked for me personally on my journey, and some things are gonna work better for others than what worked for me. So keep that in mind, but I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.